In the British Isles, life for many was a struggle for daily bread. The national wealth of the country in 1914 has been computed at £14,300 million. But in the black deserts of Britain's industrial towns, working-class families could not afford decent clothes or enough to eat. In London at the turn of the century, 30.7% of the population were living below the poverty line. In York, 28% existed on a diet less generous than that of the workhouse. Small wonder that the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Lloyd George, wrote,
"Our working populations, crushed into dingy and mean streets, with no assurance that they would not be deprived of their daily bread by ill health or trade fluctuations, were becoming sullen with discontent."
As in Germany and in France, the workers turned to socialism. The Labour Party was born. But 40 Labour MPs could not provide a remedy. Only through the rapidly growing trade union movement could the workers assert their demands. In 1911 and 1912, Britain was swept by a wave of strikes more complete and embittered than any yet seen. The trade union leader, Ben Tillett, said,
"It was a great upsurge of elemental forces. It seemed as if the dispossessed and disinherited classes were all simultaneously moved to assert their claims upon society."
The ruling classes reacted with furious incomprehension. In Liverpool, troops were brought in to fire over the heads of the crowds. A man told Sir Austin Chamberlain,
"I think the situation's so serious that I went this morning to a wholesale armourer's to buy 5 revolvers. The shopman said, 'We had 100 yesterday. We had 50 when we opened this morning. We have not one left now.'"
This was England, facing a class struggle such as she had not seen for over half a century. Facing also the dispossessed who had nothing to do with class. The women. The old fight for women's rights received a new impetus from the militant suffragette movement.
Nothing was safe from their attacks. Churches were burned, public buildings and private residences destroyed. Bombs were exploded. The police and individuals assaulted, meetings broken up.
At Epsom, on Derby Day, a suffragette waited to throw herself under the King's horse. She died of her injuries. Workers and women. There were others, too, whose discontents were coming